Welcome to my wall screen, or at least anything around this wall screen, and my beautiful mess collage of all apps that is pretty much conjured right now. As you are hearing right now, this is Duket speaking, who would be describing you what this video should be demonstrating of how to make a background and to make it move along on your character's world build. Now, as we are going to be exploring this, I want to give that as a big shout that this is only the demonstration for all of us short and yet underrated viewed animators out there. I'm a less viewed animator out there, and I don't normally do a training video myself, in that honesty. In fact, who you're hearing now is only the mimicking voice of what I could prescribe, for you never will know who the real person is behind the screen. But, as this will be demonstrated for this, more likely, this is only my way of how I do the background arts. There is a lot more complicated, but more contrast to the facade side of how to do these background artistries. Now, as what we may all know, I want to give out a note to never subscribe to me. I want to stay as an underrated, I want to survive, and not be an overrated, where I will be cried all over, losing my credibility, losing my own satisfaction, whatever so. And this is my only first try to do these trainings, because I've never done so in my life. I can't even imagine myself of how it would work out without being criticized about, oh my god, your bit is really shitty, or something. Also, swear. Warning, swear count is gonna be pulled up, because I'm not even a kid. I'm a literal adult who drives around a freaking car. Animation is my hobby, so it has to be here. So, without further ado, I will stop dragging around. Outside is pretty windy, technically speaking. It's a bad storm out. It's really bad wind out. I'm in Oaty land, for most of you saying. But anyway, let us continue. So, for the first thing you should be pretty much understand about of what to do when you're about to do an animation that requires you with a background art is that sorry, the wind is really obnoxious, is that you must make your animation by your own character first. And only doing so with a demonstration, and that way you will know what your world build is like. So, let's just see if I can, whoops, wrong way. That's actually almost revealed most of myself right there. I might need to cut that out for CapCut, which is right over here. There, with the using of a demonstration like Oaty.
Hey.
Using somebody like Oaty, you make your own art like that. So let's enter our new prompt of my own Flip-A-Clip app, and hopefully the wind dies down, and that way I don't expect a tree slam on my own head. Right, let's do that then. Okay, good. Most of my art right here is not as revealing, where it's mostly lore content of my entire app. Thank God. So, what you need to worry about first is how you see your canvas size. Whatever you're satisfied, and whatever is perceived, basically Flip-A-Clip cannot really give you a whole wide range of the mystique of how much pixelation you should add in with your animation, since it cannot compute that. If it does manage to compute that, it will warn you that it would have a lot of bad lag and a lot of storage compound, whatever device you're using, and whatever the type of Flip-A-Clip you're meaning to adjust to it. So what I'm using right now is basically the normal YouTube canvas size, the width of 1280 and a height of 720. If you want to break that layer when it's basically equal, all you need to do is just break the chain, and that way you want it to make it 1280, then there you go. You can change that to 720 without seeing a glitch of 1280 being rearranged into a bigger unit. So, let's make this beautiful art and also make this regular white, whatever type of frame per second for any first time user Flip-A-Clips. You can always control that. Once you actually have this canvas, you cannot undo it unless you're going to be expecting something so critique and you had to undo the entire project again because once you go into this, you cannot change it. Unlike obvious paint for that type of particular. So let me just draw a little Oaty dummy right all the way right here. This is a horrible Oaty dummy. There. Let's just make this real. This is Oaty, and he'll be on this demonstration as a character that will be illustrated of his whole background testament. Now, as we've been doing this, whatever you animated on your own character is always valued first. Colored, drawn, at least scripted, finished, animated, and then voila. Your character has a build. But what about the world build exactly? What exactly is the character in? Where is Oaty? Is he on the moon? Is he in a field? Is he in a ravine? Is he in a desert? Whatever he is, he as puzzled as I am, and I have no conversation of what exactly he's in. For as we may compose our own background, we have to rely not Flipperclip for that. For as Flipperclip is only for character based first to based last, frame by frame, no matter what compute, only by one discrimination alone, and that is a character its own needs to be is a background known as Oaty Jumpscare. IBS Paint. Is that not obvious? Anyway, IBS Paint. A world fascinating and understanding username for all of us cheapskate little underrates who don't even want to freaking pay because, that actually is suffering. You do not want to complaint of a little bit of a big humongous computer. You don't want to over-exaggerate over big blender ass type of skill, so that way you need to get some perceive. Whatever you got in mind is all explored here. And whatever comes to compute on that. Now, what you will see in IBS Paint, yes, I scribbled a lot over the screen because a lot of lore is exposed here in whatever compound of a laser be. And yes, my tablet is actually computed where everything that you see on the screen is a live IBS Paint and it's overlaid by the least of the installed screen recording that the tablet even gained. And basically, it can do whatever the shit it's wanting here. See? I can still do that. Sorry, Oaty. No offense. Let me just... there we go. So, whatever comes to the mind about IBS Paint, unlike Flipperclip, it is completely limited to a bigger degree of the canvas size, because that's going to be relevant very, very good. And whatever type of adjustment it needs, it's always relied with the biggest canvas. It also too would warn you that it would actually cause a lot of capacity, big unity, and a lot of lagging. But unlike Flipperclip, you do not need to be justified within such a third degree. It does have the same mechanics to Flipperclip's canvas sizing, but unlike it, it's unlimited. You can do whatever the heck you want with IBS. So let's just, shall we make a new project of the same name in here to make a beautiful art. Like it is right over here that I made that actually became a picture frame. Yay. That does not mean, and however, that I could just simply continue and do this at the same time. No, I had to go back and forth and re-scribble. So whatever. Shut up, Bryn! Anyway, so what I'm showing you is how IBS works. You have these default canvases that it could only be justified once, but yet you have this guy that you can go in a maximum degree of so many of pixel units you do. What we're going to look at here is at least around 1910 to 1045. And I believe what I could say here is the best recommended size unit that you could do here. And I know you're about to say, hold up, just wait a minute. Is that a little bit problematic? Sometimes it would to Flipperclip, but here it never was. Now how to insert a Flipperclip is that, well, just to make you remember, we're catching up there. This, for new users, is IBS Paint. You can flourish. You can do whatever you want. At least to do whatever you wish to do. Now, does this have any limitations when it comes to the undo button? Because unlike Flipperclip, you can undo your mistakes and it would not be recorded to your own situations. Shut up, Win. Thanks. Anyway, the best way that you want to do with IBS is that you want to do something in the world build with this humongous build of your own hand, whatever you wish. Now, the question is still justified to this very time being is what exactly do you want to make? A reference of some kind? A strategy of your own will? Something that you want to dream to make? You put all your efforts in here, whatever you wish in here, and that's exactly with that. So, I like to do this for example of our old dear Oaty again, and this time with an actual reference that we would say an outer build in the realistic world, and not always in here, because realistic comes first when it comes to references, and then goes back to the animated. You see what I mean? So, absurd. Hopefully it's not covering the speaker wrong. This is my garden of the indoors from my miniature village, and
Hey!
This is Oaty. This is the aspect of the viewpoint of what we're looking at around here. He can just run around, do whatever he wants. Supposedly there's possibly a spider ally that he's around here, but I guess he doesn't want to be viewed. And this is the fish.
Hi, Mr. Fish.
Mrs.
Mrs. Fish.
Feed her.
Okay.
It'll take him a moment.
There you go.
Not a big fucking cube!
Yeah.
This is the bed. Now a lot has been coming around over here. It looks like it's nothing, but we can use this as a reference because there's a fun shit around. And this is Oaty again, eating a load pile of bread because I want to eat for this midnight's meal before I had to go to the doctor's appointment. Oh, I just found out. Damn it! Oaty.
Huh?
Continuing exploring?
Oh yeah. Just give me one moment.
This is technically Oaty's home. That big nestle thing over there is where he actually sleeps at most of his time.
Yeah. Hans. Though, I wouldn't really sleep here tonight because, well, that.
And finally, our last location is the withered out version of the Whisper Paradise that has no real critical name.
Yeah, this place is really cozy. Especially with this house. It's meant to be ceramic, but it didn't get kilned, so it's still raw. It's what you guys actually told me about. Oh, hi guys. Are you laying on a wall?
Bonus location, top of dryer.
Yeah, this is also a totally not acceptable area that we could have normally go up to. This is meant to be for the tomatoes, but the tomatoes are dead. I hate Mrs. Fish. I think she's dead.
Now we got the whole landmarks being figured out and what we're expecting. We're now gonna put Oaty back to the animated side aspects, so that way we will continue our own projects. Now we observed. This is completely normal behavior. Now that we have all of these supposed landmarks for Oaty to be figured, that means one thing or another. Let's start drawing your background. Now, I've been testing things out, and this might be not as complicated as I might perceive. But if I would be so certain, according to the non-Premium X Plus yearly subscription users, the images implying when you're needing to insert an image, it does not turn against you. But adding a video would, and that won't be a problem at all. Nobody could ever use Magic Cut. I mean, I would never do Magic Cut because I have the premium glitch, which means anywhere I go, whenever I install FlippyClip, even within the access of my own account, somehow I still have the premium glitch. It's always hunting me. I'm always this type of ancestor for that. I don't know. But yes, we insert an image that would be playing as this. Now, is it going to be problematic? Not really, as much as I understand. This is the end draw that I have done. Now, what it did is that it completely composed in of the exact length of what we may expect, but it's meant to be a lot more bigger than that. But that ain't no problem, because whatever the big unity is, it's always wanting to be inside the box. Now, what happens if the box is actually a lot more smaller by the height that it will be explicit to it? It won't be a problem. It'll just be smaller than that box. In particular, it won't change its size, it's just the box itself that's different. The image won't be any different. So, pixels by pixels, unity by unity, nothing should be out of the box, but it can be out of the box. And here's the fun part. You can lengthen this, and that means it looks like it's very much zoomed. But I have to warn you this, though. Once it's zoomed in, if you accidentally press out of the box without copying, it's stuck like this. You cannot edit out of the box, no matter what. You lost at least most of the drawn picture. You had to reinsert the image again. Or at least undo it many times, but once the undoing process is done, it's done. But I rather want to suggest about what has actually been compressed in here, it's perfectly fine. Because nothing is as much edited, but if you keep having this undoed and then edit up here, and then keep zooming it in, over and over and over, the pixelations will be shatty here. It'll be very shatty, so you have to insert it cropped up exactly how you wanted it. Now here's the funny part. I keep pausing it every single time just to avoid anyone to see my images that it will pop up, because that's what it's gonna happen. You get to select anything that you wish in here. Here's the funny thing though. When you do zoom in and go in the pressure point of whatever desired area you want to go into, it's exactly as that. Now normally, like I said earlier, you're supposed to have a character here, but things would go first if you want to feel something that you rather want to expect, but not expect too much. Gamera, I'm talking to you. When you talk about the third continent in your community post, you were actually describing about the overseas on the South Current, I believe that's what it is. The South Current. And it basically has these fish birds that flies on above. This is a specimen that I also turn into creations too. And what you will do there is that you can just do the neutral version of just a smooth, easy panel, and not so staggered background draw. But here's the typical part of this type of unit, and you have to be very sufficient for doing this. You must, to at least, do the copy and paste process. For example here, because nothing is deleted at this upper part once you keep this going. You gotta keep this going. There, see? Just completely fine. You pan a little this way. Bam! Do this again. Pan, copy, turn, repeat. And this is the horrific part. You have to exactly look at the alignment that you have to go through them down here. And that's exactly how you want to suffer in this. And with that much, you have to do it without causing staggering, which is a normal thing for animators who must be suffering with this much. We done this to the characters, we will do it in the background too. Or else you'll find yourself with this type of jitter up spaceman, you know what I mean. But yeah, if you just keep in many speed per nouns, a perfect speed, then it will be absolutely fine. And that's what happens if you don't copy. Before then, you had to actually figure out where it is this time. See, this is like staggering here. Of course, mistakes like this has happened. You will never get successful on it. Once this happens, you have to undo it. That means undo all of the future pattern just to get back over here, because once the staggering starts, you don't know where it'll end up. Means it never was accurate. It'll just look like a strange wave of confusing and diabolical turn of events. An open wave of madness. Now, second type of backgrounds used is when a character is right over here, but they want to walk over the background. Simple, you just let them do that. The perspective has to be changed on them mostly once it goes in the back. But as they go on the back, you will not be able to catch up on the character because they'll keep going into this very, very far away background. They're no more in the foreground. They're now in the background. So what are you going to do? You zoom out. In a perfect bicircle and the end up there. You just keep zooming out. Just keep zooming out. Then it will be all fine. For example, see right here? The character's right over here. You carefully zoom out, copy, do the same loop like I did before. Back up, copy, forward, paste. Zoom out, copy, forward, paste. And you want the character to be followed with. You want him to be in a pure pressure point. You want him in the point view. And he's going over there. You wanted that viewpoint to point on the character. Simple. View, just pan a little, following on him. Your eye view is on the character. He's right over here. Keep going. You must do exactly by the viewpoint, and at the same time, you have to be expecting following on the land field. You just have to guide yourself around. What you look around you, it's exactly how the characters look around. When you see the character looking around, you have to follow on the character. When the character's walking around, you also have to follow the ground. It's a big loop. It's a completely big loop. It's a very annoying thing. It is, yes. But when this happens, it follows up in a beautiful rhythmic pattern. And you don't fear about staggering if you follow the character. You also had to fasten and slow in over the times if the character also fastens and slows in. It's the same thing with walk cycles. Characters had to be following the footsteps on the ground. If you made the land in the background too fast, so that means the character does not look right. They're uncanny. They're not even following on the ground. They look like they're sliding. No matter what fast or slow, they're always sliding. The land is either sliding or the character's sliding. It's always like that. They always find themselves sliding until then, whoop, poof, dead. That's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. Let's see what the progress looks like so far. Of course, it looks like this, and it would not be looking so smooth. But that's also another tricky part. It's meaning by a lot of frames in the relying smooth state. Frames that also follow in the background, and then frames on follow up with the character. It never adds up. When I did the animation contest of the unknown name, fun fact, the backgrounds would never be the problem, but rather of how many frames per second the characters rely on whenever every single scenes have been taking place. Whenever the scenes are taking place, most of the time they'll be in the frames of overword of 15 to 16. But then sometimes it'll be 9 frames per second. So, how on earth can I follow out the background at the same time of the characters if they're not as equal to the same sceneries and frames at all times? Well, here's the thing. When the characters already exist and you want the background to be fully fitted in, you have to suffocate your own eyes out and just to follow them as any way as possible. No matter what you want to suffer from, it doesn't really matter. You have to follow up on the characters to seeing if they're absolutely safe. I kept Oaty keepingly safe for this type of opportunity alone.
Where am I?
I completely forgot to give him a graze on his beak and legs.
Who cares if I'm breaking the fourth wall? I do whatever I want! Yeah.
What the fuck? He just technically disappeared. Oh well, he would have had nothing to deal with. I'm actually done.
Yeah, I like my style to break fourth walls.
Wait.
Oi.
Oh.
Three things interesting about me is that this is the end of the video. I break fourth of the walls because I don't know what it actually is. What happened to the fifth wall, nobody knows. And today's my birthday.
It's been 3 days. Why is it so long to make it?